Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Yes, I have a new look today. I shaved off my beard, certain parts of my beard. I have shaved it off, and hope you all are doing good. So in this video, I'm going to continue the reading from the novel A House for Mr. Biswas. We're gonna read some passages from the book, and just to set the context here, the characters are in this particular reading are Mr. Biswas, Mr. Biswas, then sisters of his wife, Shama's sisters are there, their children are there, and the matriarch of the family, Mrs. Tulsi, and Ovad, the brother of Mr. Biswas's wife, Shama. So his name is Ovad, and he has returned from England after studying medicine. And he is a person of reverence for all the people in the household. Sisters are looking to curry favor with him. All the people, they almost, they are in awe of Awadh and all the things he does and do. So he's returned from England after studying medicine. So they are all talking with each other on certain things. And just to give some historical context, so this the entire novel is set in 1940s. So in this particular reading that I'm gonna do, they're talking about communist Russia. So at that point, Russia and Soviet Union was communist. Initially, Russia had a monarchy, it had a czar, but there was a communist revolution, and the czar and their family were killed, and Stalin and Lenin, these were the main characters. So Stalin is in power during the Second World War, and Russia is communist. So communism is a form of government where state controls all the resources and everything. There's no private property, there's no private industry or enterprise. Everything is controlled by the state. So that was sort of seen by communist as a higher and evolved way of governing the society. So anyway, Russia is communist during this point, and Awadh is a communist sympathizer. So I'm gonna start the reading. Awadh had canvassed for the Labour Party in 1945 and was considered by Kingsley Martin to be one of the architects of the Labour victory. In fact, Kingsley Martin had pressed him to join the New Statesmen and Nation, but he, laughing at a private joke, said he had told Kingsley no. He had earned the bitter hatred of the Conservative Party by its scathing denunciation of Winston Churchill's Fulton speech. Scathing was one of his favorite words, and the person he had handled most scathingly was Krishna Menon. So you can see that there's so much historical context here. I'm breaking the reading in between. Krishna Menon was one of the Indian diplomats. He was, I think, he was a foreign secretary during the period after Indian independence. They're talking about Winston Churchill. The Labour Party came into power in 1945. In fact, Winston Churchill was the leader of Britain during Second World War. He is, the guy who was at the helm of affairs during that period, and he was voted out of power after the war. So that's, even after he won the war from that, there was people voted against the party, and Labour came into power. So yeah, and so you can see there's a lot of historical nuggets here. So we're going to continue the reading. He didn't say, but it appeared from his talk he had been gratuitously insulted by Menon at a public meeting. He had collected funds for Maurice Thoreau's and had discussed party strategy in France with him. He spoke familiarly of Russian generals and their battles. He pronounced Russian names impressively. Those Russian names are ugly like hell, Mr. Biswas ventured one evening. The sisters looked at Mr. Biswas, then looked at Avadh. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, Avadh said. Biswas is a funny name if you say in a certain way. The sisters looked at Mr. Biswas. Rokossovsky and Coca-Cola Kovasovsky, Mr. Biswas said, a little annoyed, ugly like hell. Ugly? Vyacheslav Molotov. Does that sound ugly to you, Ma? No, son. Joseph Dukalshvili, Avadh said. That's the one I had in mind, Mr. Biswas said. Don't say that you think that pretty, Avadh replied. I think so. The sisters smiled. Gwagal, Avadh said, raising his chin. He was lying in bed, making a strangulated noise. Mrs. Tulsi passed her hand from his chin to his Adam's apple. What was that? Mr. Biswas asked. Gogol, Avadh said, the world's greatest comic writer. It sounded like gargle. Mr. Biswas waited for the applause, but Shama only looked warningly at him. You couldn't say that in Russia, Chinta said. This led Avadh from the beauty of Russian names to Russia itself. There is work for everyone, and everyone must work. It is distinctly written in the Soviet constitution. Basdai, pass me that little book here, that he who does not work shall not eat. That is fair, Chinta said, taking the copy of the Soviet constitution from Avadh, opening it, looking at the title page, closing it, passing it on. Is exactly the sort of law we need in Trinidad. He who does not work shall not eat, Mrs. Tulsi repeated slowly. I just wish they could send some of my people to Russia, Miss Blackie said, sucking her teeth and shaking her skirt and shifting in her chair to express the despair to which her people reduce her. Mr. Biswas said, how can he who does not eat work? Avadh paid no attention. In Russia, you know, Ma, it was his habit to address many of his sentences to her. They grow cotton of different colors, red, blue, and green, and white cotton. Just growing like that? Shama asked, making up for Mr. Biswas' irreverence. Just growing like that. And you, Avadh said, speaking to a widow who had been trying without success to grow an acre of rice at Short Hills. You know, the labor it is to plant rice, bending down up to your knee in muddy water, sun blazing, day in, day out. The backache, the widow said, arching her back and putting her hand where she ached. You don't have to tell me. Just planting that 1 acre, I feel like I was going to the hospital. None of that in Russia, Avadh said. No backache, bending down in Russia. You know how they plant rice? They shook their head. Shooted it from an airplane. No shooting, not shooting bullets, shooting rice. From an airplane, the rice planting widow said. From an airplane. You could plant your field in few seconds. Take care you don't miss, Mr. Biswas said. And you, Avadh said to Shushila, you should really be a doctor. Your bent is that way. I've been telling her so, Mrs. Tulsi said. Shushila, who had enough of nursing Mrs. Tulsi, hated the smell of medicine and asked for nothing more than a quiet, dry goods shop to support her old age. Nevertheless, agreed. In Russia, you would be a doctor, free. Doctor like you, Shushila asked. Just like me. No difference between the sexes. None of this nonsense about educating the boys and throwing the girls aside. Chinta said. Vidyadhar always keeps on telling me that he wants to be an aeronautical engineer. This was a lie. Vidyadhar didn't even know the meaning of the words. He just liked their sound. He would be an aeronautical engineer, Avadh said. To take out the rice grain from the aeroplane gas tank, Mr. Biswas said. But what about me? You, Mohan Biswas, welfare officer. After they have broken people's lives, deprived them of opportunities, sending you around like a scavenger to pick up pieces, a typical capitalist trick, Ma. Yes, son. It was Blackie, burning. using you like a fool. You have given us $500 profit. Here, we'll give you $50 charity. The sisters nodded. Oh God, Mr. Biswas thought, another scorpion trying to do me out of a job. But you are not really a capitalist lackey, Awad said. Not really, Mr. Biswas said. You are not really a bureaucrat. You are a journalist, a writer, a man of letters. Yes, I suppose so. Yes, man. In Russia, they see you are a journalist and a writer. They give you a house, give you food and money, and tell you go ahead and write. Really, really, Mr. Biswas said. A house just like that. Writers get them all the time. A deca, a house in the country. Why? Mrs. Tulsi asked. Don't we all go to Russia? Ah, Awad said. They fought for it. You know what they did to the Tsar? Miss Blackie said. Then the sisters nodded gravely. You, Mr. Biswas said, now full of respect. Are you a member of the Communist Party? Awad smiled, and his reaction was equally cryptic. And when Anand asked how, as a communist working for the revolution, he could take a job in the government medical service. The Russians have a proverb, Awad said. A tortoise can pull its head and go through a cesspit and remain clean. By the end of the week, the house was in ferment. Everyone was waiting for the revolution. The Soviet Constitution and the Soviet Weekly were read more thoroughly than the Sentinel or the Guardian. Every received idea was shaken. Every received idea was shaken. The readers and learners, happy to think themselves in a society that was soon to be utterly destroyed, relaxed their efforts to read and learn, and began to despise their teachers, whom they had previously reverenced and as ill-informed stooges. And Awad was an all-rounder. He not only had views on politics and military strategy, he not only was knowledgeable about cricket and football, he lifted weights, he swam, he rowed, and he had strong opinion about artists and writer. Eliot, he told Anand, used to see him a lot. American, you know, The Wasteland, the song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Let us go then, you and I. Eliot is a man I simply loathe. And at school, Anand said, Eliot is a man I simply loathe. And added, I know someone who knows him. So this is the end of the reading. And I hope you liked that and enjoyed that. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.